Rushing mad like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sight like a lot.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 72. And today, I want to bring you guys a major development that we just had in the manga, where Code did one of the many things that you guys predicted in the community, which is say that Code will make an army, and now everyone believes he's poised for a comeback. While it's not a cyborg army, it is a Ten Tails army, and Code is now in a situation where he's become a major threat beyond just power, which brings us to the question of the video. Did Code just redeem himself as a villain? Now, those of you guys who watch my recent collab with Anime Balls Deep know exactly where the two of us stand on this topic, which is I still stand by Code being a Shigaraki and Dio type character. I don't think it's the craziest route to go, but right now he's done a pretty much big brain move. Perhaps it's because we as a community have been told by Amato, Kawaki, and Ada that Code is an idiot, but in this chapter right here, he actually did something pretty well thought out, to the point where an argument has to be made that he's actually redeeming himself. By going back to the Ten Tails dimension, Code not only confirms that his most valuable asset is still in one piece, but he's also realized the layout of the chessboard. Kawaki and Boruto both have the karma, they're both in Otsutsuki, while Jigen did change the coordinates to the Ten Tails dimension after learning that Sasuke traveled to it. The fact remains that Boruto and Kawaki can still find the location, even if it's by blind luck if they do so. We've seen flukes happen in Boruto before. After Kurama died and they were seemingly stuck in Momoshiki's dimension, Boruto threw a fluke, not only opened up a portal, but he was also able to get them back to Konoha on top of the Hokage rooftop. I wouldn't be shocked to think that either Boruto or Kawaki is able to reverse track down this location, even if it's by mere happenstance. From the looks of it, Code doesn't appear to want to take that same chance either, which is why him going on the offensive right now makes a lot of sense, and why we have to say he might be redeeming himself. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A good villain doesn't just have to be a master strategist. They just have to avoid making stupid decisions. They can miscalculate. They often do miscalculate, but they can't make stupid decisions, and there's a big difference. Code choosing to split up the Ten Tails, infuse it with his own chakra, and give them the power to travel through the claw marks is extremely smart. If some unforeseen event happens, like say he tries to attack and Damon ends up being strong enough to bully the Ten Tails clones, then he can just have them pull right back through the claw marks because his chakra is inside of them. It's actually extremely smart of a play by Code. He knows the checkmate for Naruto's destroying the Ten Tails. No Ten Tails means that there's no creature that's going to eat Boruto or Kawaki, and that also means that there's no chakra fruit. By splitting them up and giving them limbs and the ability to teleport, he's at least now got the chance to keep the Ten Tails on the move and keep it from being locked down in any one location where they can eventually be found. It's very similar to how Tsunade realized that keeping Naruto in the village, even if it's just by dispatching him on missions here or there, that wasn't the best move in the immediate aftermath of the Sasuke retrieval arc. He needed to be with Jiraiya. He needed to be on the constant move, never going back to Konoha until the Akatsuki were thrown off. Code's doing a very similar thing right here. A bad villain would just sit there and stay stagnant and wouldn't learn from the losses that he just took. A good villain, which is what Code is doing, looks to see what other options are on the table and explores those options, all while showing up his or her weaknesses, which we just saw Code do. Now, that doesn't mean that he's been saved from the disgrace of getting bodied by Damon. It just means what myself and Anime Balls Deep said in the video. He's in the process of building himself back up, which is very important to keep in mind. Code just got his limiters removed by Amato. He thought that this would be his magic bullet to prevent him from taking any more losses, and he immediately got humbled. The balance of power had shifted. Ada and Damon, both claiming to be more powerful than him, hadn't been mere speculation. It had been proven by one, and it had been conditionally threatened by the other. He was embarrassed and he was alone. Instead of sitting there to mope in anger, he moved to immediately protect his most valuable asset in the Ten Tails by making it mobile and connecting it to him. He also upgraded his Ten Tails by taking a Ten Tails, which regardless as to if it's as strong as the one we saw in the 4th Great Ninja War or not, is still a Ten Tails, which means that it's plenty powerful, and by amping it up with his own chakra, he's at least given it a fighting chance by making it stronger. at the very least, he's done enough to do what it needs to do, which is to capture Boruto and potentially kill Naruto and Sasuke. He's also taken the time to make a move when he knows his enemy will be regrouping, and do so before Ada and Damon can arrive in Konoha. He knows that once Ada and Damon arrive, his chances of carrying out his revenge hit list got reduced drastically. This goes back to not making a stupid mistake. He's got a short window to try and make all this right. In his words in chapter 71, they're pretty straightforward, and it let us know his goals given the hindsight. After Damon beat the incel out of Code, Code took that red pill and he woke up to a new reality. He said he would become an Otsutsuki and he would take his revenge. When that moment came, he'd either make Ada love him or he'd kill her. He didn't know which he would do at that moment in time. When it came, that was our sign he wasn't going to sit there and lick his wounds. Code heard Amato say that they were going to be joining Konoha and immediately did the math in his head, realizing it would give him 3 days if they were to travel there with a civilian. Ada gets bored easily when she uses her Senrigan to spy on people, so the window to make his move is now. Even if Ada figures out what he's done, Code still holds up her hand because of the length of time it would take to reach him. He's got a short window to try accomplishing his goals, but there have to be priorities right now. Getting revenge on, say, Shikamaru because he outsmarted you isn't the best use of your time. At this point, neither is going after Naruto because you're strong enough now where you can just walk up and punch Naruto in the face and his entire head will explode faster than he can utter the words Wisdom of Age Sage Mode. Sasuke is in the same position as Naruto. While he's arguably stronger than Naruto is right now, the fact is that Code can dog walk him right now as well. Getting petty revenge on those two for their roles in the death of Isshiki is something that is a low-hanging fruit. Instead, purely from a writing perspective, if we're going the route of Shigaraki, Kylo Ren from Star Wars, or Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and even Frieza doing Dragon Ball Super, having the villain take multiple L's as a way to build them up for a future moment, like say Black Frieza showing up in the last Dragon Ball Super chapter, it can work for better storytelling. If Code sets his sights on capturing Boruto to feed him to the Ten Tails and gain possession of a chakra fruit, if he succeeds, he gets to accomplish his goal of being the strongest and immune to Ada's enchantment and being strong enough to make Kawaki suffer. If he fails, and he very likely will fail at his first attempt, it forces an already desperate character to rethink his next move. It forces him to reevaluate himself for improvement because he's now just missed his window, and if he makes his move on Kawaki, he's now got Ada's threat to kill him to worry about as well. I don't think Code has been fully redeemed here. I think it's too early to say if he has or hasn't, but what I will say is that this is a good first step towards preparing the character. What we saw at the end of the chapter only works because we saw Code get utterly destroyed in his battle against Damon. If those events had not happened and he merely pulled something like this when Ada and Damon were his allies, it would feel like the deck was being stacked too high and you risk the situation of, say, Mamoru Uchiha, where he got so powerful you couldn't see a non-ass pull type of a way to take him out. But here with Code right now, having to worry about Ada and Damon if he screws up his plan, this makes for a more conflict-riddled situation because he's got heat closing in on him from all sides. A battle with Boruto and Kawaki and not having to worry about Ada and Damon right now, if he's ignoring Ada's warning like he says, this raises the stakes, and I'm excited to see where this goes. If Code builds himself up into a Shigaraki 2.0 and has this moment where he bodies Naruto or Sasuke as badly as Shigaraki body Endeavor and Bakugo in My Hero Academia, I'll be very excited. However, where do you guys fall in this conversation? While you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.